Good evening, and I will first introduce you to myself and get you all settled in for tonight's live. So first of all, big thanks to Angela for inviting me to come on as a guest speaker for tonight. I've had a few questions sent to me, so I'm going to cover those throughout the live, and I've got a little agenda that has prompted me off the questions, so thank you for getting in touch. If you do have any additional questions or comments, do pop them below and I'll either answer them as we go along or at the end. So just a little bit of an introduction. My name is Helen Motteram. I live in Cheltenham, Gloucestershire, and I met Angela through a business networking group many years ago, and we became great friends. Now I run a company called Social Pause, and I specialise with anxious dogs and introducing new pets into the home environment. Now a little bit about myself. I've got a lovely calico cat called Millie, and I run a bird rescue as well. And I've always had cats all my life and been really passionate about their welfare and behaviour. In fact, at university I studied them in depth, looking at issues like multi-cat aggression, spraying in the household, and other behavioural issues. So it was really my passion studying cats, and growing up I had lots of different cats, many that have sadly passed away, and we've just got Millie left now. So a little bit about the story, why I got into multi-cat issues and introducing a new cat to the household was my lovely cat called Joey. Joey was a ginger Tom with a great personality, but he was also very grumpy. I didn't take this into account. He was a grumpy older boy, and one day we had this cat just turn up on our doorstep, a stray cat which we later called Arnie. Now, being a naive kid back then, I thought, going to be really simple introducing Arnie to the household, you know, just inviting him and they're going to get on fantastically. Oh my days, it was an absolute nightmare. So Arnie started spraying all over the house. He liked to target particularly my bags, plastic bags. He would spray on the fireplace, so when we turned on the fire, the scent would go all around the house. He would leave presents in my shoes and all sorts of behaviour. And Joey became very anxious. He didn't want Arnie on his territory. And because Arnie was a young cat and Joey was an older male, both males, and Arnie was intact, I think this is what caused a lot of the issues. There was clashing personalities. We didn't introduce them in the correct way. We rushed things and we just thought, well, Arnie's out on the streets on his own, let's bring him in. This was the days before microchips and all that, and a couple of cats wandered the streets. So yeah, in hindsight, not a very good idea. So now I use my experiences and my experience is as a pet behaviourist to coach and train other cat owners like yourselves. And the main request I do get is people have introduced usually a younger kitten has one or multiple cats within it. So I will dive in a little bit deeper to that. But the subjects that we're going to cover today, which you've asked me to cover, are generally introducing a new cat to your home, introducing a cat around other cats that already live in your home environment, introducing a new cat around other pets, so it might be that you've got small furries or a dog, and the last one is introducing around children. So first subject we're going to talk about today is choosing the right cat. Obviously you've got in touch with the lovely Angela, so you have an idea about what kind of cat you want, and obviously the breed and temperament. But what we've got to remember is the temperament of our cat that already lives in our home environment. So if I go back to the example of Joey, he was a very, what I would say, grumpy old guy, and he just wanted to live the rest of his life in harmony. He didn't want another cat pestering him. Maybe if we'd introduced an older female, it would have worked better. But in these circumstances, he did not want a young cat pestering him. So think, if you're going to introduce a kitten to the home environment, how can you help teach that kitten the boundaries? Kittens love to play a lot of the time, so you've got to have a lot of outlets, enrichments to keep the kitten occupied. And, you know, just think about these things. You know, has your cat lived with cats previously? If your cat has never been in a home before with other cats, you may struggle. And with multi-cats, this may be an issue because they've already established this nice bond in the house, and then you bring a third party in, and you know what they say about the third wheel, so all kinds of conflicts could break out. So choosing the right cat, don't just think about the breed, the health, but think about the temperament. And if you've got a cat already in the home, do think about that. If you don't have a cat already in the home, have a think about you know, what you can commit to. Can you really commit to a young, bouncy kitten that is going to need a lot of enrichment, you know, a little bit of training and socialisation? Or would you be better with an older cat? So just have a little bit of think about that. I've always had cats as a kitten, so I've grown up with kittens, and except Arnie, and I found them fun animal to have in the house. Great for children as well. Really makes a nice atmosphere in your house. But we need to think about the commitment. This is, you know, maybe 12, 14, 16, or in Sammy's case, 21 years I had her. So 21 years. Can you really commit to 21 years? And is the cat going to be right for you and right for your family? An older cat or a rescue cat, do remember they may come with additional behavioural issues. So if you're going somewhere like the Cheltenham Animal Shelter or a rescue local to you, try and get as much of the history about the cat as you can possible. And also consider an extended settling in period. No point bringing the cat home and, you know, children right in its face. This cat needs a little bit of time to decompress and a safe area away from the hustle and bustle. And again, if a cat's used to being outside, if you've decided to take in a rescue cat that's previously been feral, maybe it's one that you've rescued from overseas, again, you've got to take this into account. They may be used to living outside, so it's no point you trying to contain them in a house or maybe bring them up as a house cat. You know, having a house cat is perfectly fine as long as you've got the space, the setup and the environment for it. Fantastic. Right, so the next thing to talk about is preparing the home. Now, when we get a new cat, or in fact any new pet, we are completely excited, and the first thing we usually do is we go to the local pet shop and we buy, you know, lovely new collars, you know, nice cat bowls. But do have a think about the other stuff which don't always seem like a priority. So enrichment ideas like cat trees so they can climb up high, just basic boxes so they got a safe place to hide away. Maybe a flirt pole, which is literally a plastic stick with a little furry fake animal on the end. You can have all that. So think about the enrichment items as well. Also think about preparing the home environment. Has the cat got a safe space that he can retreat to? If you've got multiple cats, have you got separate litter trays? Have you got separate bowls? So a lot to consider. You know, if it's going to be a house cat, is it going to be safe, or is it going to be under risk of you opening the door and letting it out? Where's it going to go in the evenings? Where's it going to go in the day? How are you going to introduce it to the local area? So all these things to consider. So I would, before you get a cat, write down all the different items that you need, the essential things, obviously like food, bowls, collars, tags, and then the other things that people never usually say as a priority, like the enrichment ideas, like the cat trees and the flirt poles. Okay? Again, if you live in quite a compact house, and you've got multiple cats, you might want to think about having more open areas and also hidey spots for your cats. Now, the biggest issue I find is when two cats are trying to walk through the same door at the same time. There's a lot of conflict that happens in doorways, and particularly kitchens and the exit to the outside. So if you've got cats in a multi-cat household that need to go outside, just be mindful of the traffic building up in those areas, and that's when usually conflict arrives. And again, with items like resources like food bowls, water and cat litter, these need to be separated a far distance. It's no point getting your new cat home and expecting it to eat right next to your cat you already have, because that's just not fair. They need space and they need time. Okay. As you probably know, scent is such a cat's life, and they use scent to communicate. So before you get your cat home and you've got other cats in the home or a dog, make sure that you introduce the new cat scent to your resident animals. So basically get the cat to rub on a little bit of cotton or fabric, or even get the cat's bed that it's been sleeping in. If it's obviously coming from a breeder, you might want to consider asking the breeder if there's something that they can get the kittens to sleep on, and then that can be transferred to your new home environment. So the other cat gets a sense of the smell and it's able to communicate that way. So scent is so important when introducing a new cat into the home environment. The initial instructions. So this is a really important part when we are introducing a new cat. And what I'm going to go through is introducing a new cat to other cats, other pets and children. So firstly I'm going to talk about introducing a cat to a home environment with no other cats. So I'll briefly go over that. Remember, if it's a rescue cat, decompression time, allow the cat to settle in before you have visitors around. Be mindful of loud noises, especially if it's around fireworks time or Christmas time. The cat needs to relax and have a safe area. So introducing a new cat to an area where there's no other cats, no other pets, maybe nice quiet home, it's usually quite an easy transition. But if it is a rescue cat, there could be added trauma to that, so just be mindful of that. Now, the mistake that many pet owners make is they will introduce a new cat into the household straight away. So what I mean by that is they bring the cat home in the cat carrier, they plonk it on the floor, they open it up, and what I did with Arnie and Joey, the cats just met straight away. Please don't do this. Whatever you do, it will put you back loads of time that you will need to spend, probably 4 to 9 months, maybe even a year, trying to reintroduce those cats. Start off on the best foot and make sure you introduce them gradually. So when you get them home, when you get your new cat home, make sure it's in a separate area. And make sure you spend a few days, even a week, not even introducing the cats. Just have simple things like introducing the scent, allowing them to eat behind a closed door. So they know the cat's there, but they haven't got that visual contact. For cats that have already faced a trauma in a multi-cat home, there's already aggression going on, I usually say 2 weeks of not seeing each other. Completely clean slate, they start again. But obviously if you're introducing a new cat into the home, hopefully you haven't already got any of this trauma in the home environment, and we can do that maybe after a week, start introducing them gradually. So how do we introduce them? Good question. Now, one home environment I worked in, we had safe areas for the cats, and we reduced the traffic around the doors. So if new cat wanted to go outside, then we'd allow it to, but without the old cat being there. So it was a lot of like having to arrange your traffic in the home environment. But the beauty was they had quite a big home. So new cat slept on the top floor Old cat slept on the bottom, and they had lots of safe spaces that the cats could go, and we did spend a whole week of the cats not seeing each other, and it went really, really well. So when it comes to introducing them first time, we have to create a positive experience. So when they meet for the first time, it's going to be the best experience ever. It's not going to be overwhelming. If it's a young kitten, it's not going to run up and scare older cat. If it's an older grumpy cat, it's not going to run up to new kitten and scare kitten. Now, first of all, I would recommend getting your kitten in particular, used to being on a lead. Because when you want to come and introduce the cats together, you don't want them just running around here, there and everywhere. Another option with the management and control is to have a gate to separate them, to stop them actually getting too close to one another. So choose your options, what you prefer. In the past, I've worked with leads because the cats were already used to them, but you can't just slap a lead on a cat. They have to be introduced to it gradually with some nice treats. So could be cheese or ham or dreamies, anything that will say having a lead on is the best experience. So once you've got, say, the older cat in the, I would use like maybe a lounge area where you've got a nice open area ahead of the cat. The older cat, don't position the older cat too close to the door, because when kitten comes in, it might be a little bit startled. Have it maybe to the side or in a corner so it feels more safe, and have some options so it can get away. If this older cat wants to get away, wants to move out of the room, that is so important. I've had situations where people have brought the kitten into the room in their arms, the older cat in their arms, and they've pushed them together like this. It did not end well. Both owners had scratches all over their arms, and again we spent many months undoing the work that was done. So it's really, really important that you don't force them into that situation. It'd be like me putting you in a room with a killer clown and saying, right, I'm going to hold you back and make you like see the clown and make you be around that clown. You wouldn't feel very happy, would you? So have the kitten coming in the room, older cat to one side. Make it very short introductions. So older cat, you're going to be offering something really yummy. Again, dreamies, ham, cheese, or maybe even playing a little game with the older cat. Again, flirt pole. Nice little game I do is the touch. Lead to touch my hand. So it gives the cat something else to be doing rather than the focus being all on the kitten. But it also creates a nice association. So when I see kitten coming in the room, I get the good stuff and fun times. Hope that makes sense. So you need obviously another person to be with the kitten, and having some enrichment for the kitten as well. So I'd have the kitten coming in and using a flirt pole around the kitten, so it's got a little bit of an outlet. Now remember, if the kitten is getting too highly aroused and then you take the flirt pole away, what's it going to do now? It's going to try and then, you know, play with the older cat. So you might need to do it just in stages, or use treats as well for the kitten. So when the kitten's nice and calm, gets the treats, it thinks, wow, when I'm nice and calm around the older cat, I get the good stuff. Because what we're essentially teaching for the kitten is to be calm around the older cat, or having a nice outlet. And then what we're teaching the older cat is that kitten means no harm. And if we is anxious, we would do more or less the same. So it's always the anxious cat that gets the good stuff, the positive associations. Hope that makes sense. So what's next? You need to be doing these sessions, I would say, once or twice a day, but don't overwhelm yourself, guys. It's just when you can fit it into your lifestyle. Obviously, if you're doing it too much, you might overwhelm the cats. And obviously, if you're doing it too little, it may take longer. So the next stage up from these gradual introductions. So maybe we're on, say, week 2. Now you want to get to the stage of the cats being in a shared space and having something to eat, but feeling comfortable. Now, once again, if you have the cats right next to each other, Two bowls really next to each other or the same bowl, you know, that's a highly prized resource and there's going to be conflict there and they're being forced to eat right next to door to each other. So what I would do is I would have the cats at either end of the room, again a controlled situation, eating, and then have a couple of separate bowls. So they can choose to go to the separate bowls without crossing each other's paths. Again, make sure you've got 2 or 3 water bowls available, some enrichment if you need to, and a way you can distract the cat or kitten. So if kitten stops eating and then it wants to rush over cat, that's not the thing to do. So first we need to teach kitten that the good stuff always happens when they're essentially on their station. So I do a lot of station works, so you can actually teach a cat or kitten to stay in one place and settle on a mat, so they won't then, you know, distract the other cat. So station work is a really, really good idea. But what happens if kitten suddenly starts running over? Now, firstly, again, I would have probably kitten on a lead or some kind of gate boundary. But when we want to work up to the kitten actually saying hello to the cat or the other way round, we'll need something to redirect them. Now, a lot of people will say use something called aversives, like shouting at your cat, spray water at them. But this does nothing to help this bond and positive association. By squirting the cat, if they go up to each other, what you're saying is when these 2 cats say hello, they get the water, and that's not going to strengthen the relationship of the cats. So again, what we need to do is if kitten starts thinking, oh, I want a little bit of a play with older cat, just get the flirt pole ready and go, let's go, or this way, and just redirect him the other way, and it'd be like, wow. Instead of going full throttle at the other cat, if I'm nice and calm and walk over to the other cat, that's fine. But if I bounce over, then that's not okay. And then you're able to redirect the other cat and show kitten and show what is the best option. So again, I hope that makes sense. It needs to be a controlled setup when you're doing the station work and the feeding. But obviously preventative methods and emergency methods, they do come in handy. But keep that water bottle away and no shouting either. I know it's really hard, but there is a better way to train your cats. Okay, couple more things that I'll go over. So when it gets to the stage of introducing the cats up close, I would have the more anxious cat make the first move. Because if you've got a really confident cat coming over to an anxious cat, it might make the anxious cat feel a bit vulnerable. So I always make the anxious cat make the first move. As a kitten, I usually allow the older cat to make the first move. So go over, it sniffs the kitten's bum, and then, you know, we give lots of treats like, yay, this is good. And likewise, if the kitten goes over to the cat, gives its bum a sniff, then we're like, brilliant, that is brilliant. There with the dreamies, there with the treats, to say that is an amazing behaviour, because the kitten needs to be taught how to behave. You know, this doesn't always come naturally to a kitten, and you may just want to do kitten things and bounce over. So do remember that. One thing I haven't talked a lot about is routine and enrichment, diets. So again, it's good to have a good structure, good routine in place, and some nice outlets for your cat or kitten. So some brain training games, you know, scatter the dreamies around the house, let them forage and hunt for their food, incorporate their natural behaviours, you know, that prey drive that they have with the flirt pole. It's so exciting for the cat or kitten, and it really gives them something to do. So these are all things you can be incorporating. I've taught Millie to roll over on command, so Millie roll, and then obviously the reward for that is she gets a nice belly stroke. And you know, one of those things, some cats like a belly stroke and some of them hate it, and that's okay. So we have to work with what is motivating your cat or your kitten. So what makes them happen? If it's stroking, if it's praise, or if it's treats or toys. You need to establish that, and it's quite easy to do. You just give them the choice. Would they rather want to play with the flirt pole or have those dreamies? Now I know Millie would rather have the dreamies, so that's a good thing for Millie. Again, safe areas, we have gone into this, so the cat trees, cat enrichment trees, where they can go on the top and feel safe. And yeah, basically just creating a safe environment for them. So that is introducing it to other cats. Now, other pets is a little bit more complicated, especially if it's a bird, maybe a rabbit, or even a dog. There have been instances where I've seen cats get on with rabbits and birds, but I certainly wouldn't have Millie around my birds. She stops hassling them now, like she used to pounce near the aviary, but now she's just bored of them because they don't give her a response. But my birds become incredibly anxious to come in my room. So this is actually our spare room, and I call this Millie's bedroom, because this is Millie's bed. She has this whole bed, and this is Millie's room, right? This is like a safe area. She can't come in our room because we usually have the birds in there, and it just wouldn't be fair for the birds or for Millie. So if you've got, you know, small furries, feathered friends, it might be more difficult to introduce them, but there are ways forward. For that, I would contact an accredited trainer or pet behaviourist. But at the end of the day, what you've got to be thinking is, do we need to introduce the birds to the cat? And if so, we need to be doing it with a lot of management and control in place. But if we can live a life where Millie is quite happy not being around the birds, and as long as Millie doesn't get in my room, the birds are completely safe. But you must be aware that accidents do happen. So if I was to leave my door open and Millie went in there, at least I know that she wouldn't actively attack the birds now, because we've done a lot of training to calm her around the birds. So do have some management strategies in place and prior learning, so that's important too. Dogs, again, a little bit more challenging. If it's a puppy, again, do the same sort of work as if it's a new kitten coming into the house. Puppy needs to be on lead, and the cat needs an exit strategy. So what you tend to get with the cats is usually they'll boop puppy on the nose, and you'd think that puppy would just back down, but actually puppies don't usually back down straight away. So there's going to be a lot of boops on the noses and probably a scratched eye, which we don't want. So don't leave the animals to teach themselves. We've got to step in, otherwise there could be injuries. So puppy, dog on lead, and some nice introductions with the cat. Again, the cat needs to be able to get away. Also think about things like the dogs, you know, love the cat poop, so they might want to eat the cat out of the cat litter tray. So you need to probably raise that up or stop the dog going in. And again, with cat food, I know my dog Sally used to always gorge on our cat's food and get very, very upset stomachs. So do be mindful of where you're placing the cat food and the dog food. Again, if you are introducing a new dog to the home environment, if it's a puppy, it's probably transition. But if it's a rescue dog, please check the history of that rescue dog. If it says it cannot be rehomed with cats, just don't risk it. Please don't risk it. I had someone recently rehome a dog with a cat, and I knew prior to this that it didn't get on with cats, but they thought they could make it work. You've got 100% management and control, and a bit like my setup with the birds, then fair enough. But from clients I've worked with, it's really hard if there is a dog that could intentionally do harm to another cat. You know, just chasing and playing after it is one thing, but I've heard incidents where cats have been killed by dogs, and these are cats in the residents' home, so it's really, really sad. So do be mindful of that. A little bit more of a serious subject there, but it is really, really important. So again, I would get in touch with an accredited trainer or behaviourist if you want to introduce a cat or a new dog to a cat. It's not a straightforward process, but if you've got a second pair of eyes, it always really, really helps. And then if you look on things like the Blue Cross website, the RSPCA, they have got some starter tips to move you forward as well. So do use those resources. And obviously, if you do want to come to me, my page is Social Paws. Just pop me an email or a message, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So last but not least, we have children. So obviously younger children, they can be very excitable, and the first thing what they want to do is when they get a cute kitten home or an older cat is they want to cuddle them up close. Now, I don't know about you, but I find cat body language is a lot harder to read than dog body language and bird body language. So it's all about getting to know your cat's signals, you know, when it's not happy, and using those signals to say, right, it's too much, maybe you put Mog down right now and give him some space. We call it the ladder of aggression in dogs. It's not necessarily always about aggression, but in dogs you have like a freeze, a lip lick, avoidance, similar things to cats, but body language in cats is very different to dogs. So I would analyse your own cat's body language, and again, there's lots of resources online. And all you need to do is watch a couple of YouTube clips to see, you know, what could happen if you push a cat over its limits. These things aren't nice to watch, but they're very good for teaching us what body language to look out for and when we stop. So that's important too. So if you're getting a new kitten home, yeah, they're going to want to stroke it, cuddle it, but do give the kitten some time for itself, a safe area. And I would have maybe a few hours, even, you know, half a day before you introduce the children to it. Obviously, if they've met the kitten before and the kitten's very confident, then yeah, kitten's probably going to be fine. And if it's a very confident kitten, then it's going to be different. But even with a confident kitten, it will need its space. So do be mindful of that as well. I think I've covered everything. So I would recommend Fellaway if you've got any anxiety in your cats. It's like a plug-in diffuser. Get it on cat collars as well. So that really helps. Obviously, if you've got really anxious cats, severe aggression, you need to be consulting your vets and working with a pet behaviourist, because it's really hard to follow online advice. And today is just the foundations and tasters. So when I work with issues with multi-cat aggression, on average it takes 4 to 12 months to resolve the issue. A lot of owners say that's a long time, but I always say 4 to 12 months of working, you know, and putting in the time and effort, or maybe the next 10 years of two cats, you know, really getting each other. And we had many years of Arnie and Joey not getting on, and it wasn't a nice situation. So I'd hate to see you be put under that situation. You can have cat trainers as well. I do train cats. It's not my specialist area, but it's just a bit of fun. But you can train them yourself. There's some fantastic YouTube clips about how to train cats. Now, the one thing I find with training cats that's different to dogs is they do tend to, and the motivation has to be much higher. So, you know, where a dog maybe work for a bit of kibble, I always find that, you know, when it comes to cats, I really have to increase that motivation. So with Millie, she wouldn't like work for some cat biscuits, but if you got like the cheese or ham out, then she just goes crazy. But the one little training, the training tip you can train your cat is basically a touch for your hand, which is quite fun. So what you start with is a little bit of a treat in between the finger, put the hand down, cat approaches, eat the treat, and then you mark it with the word good or yes, and the cat goes, oh, when I touch the human's hand, I get this word, yes, followed by something really, really tasty. Then over time, you remove the treat from the hand, put the hand down, and an automatic response. The cat comes straight up and touches your hand. Now, in the first stage, it's important to still give the treat from the other hand. Then over time, you can start adding a word just when you just about know they're going to touch it. So, touch, and then cat touches the hand. Really, really simple, easy trick to do. And you can start doing all things like a spin, weave between your legs. If Millie was here tonight, I would show you a few tricks, but she's not. Terribly bored after 10 seconds, so she probably wouldn't be much use. I hope that all makes sense. I know there was a lot to go through. I went through many different subjects. If you need any more advice, check out my page, Social Paws. There is a lot of stuff about dogs on it because that is my specialist area. But I do help cat owners, Cheltenham, Gloucestershire. Obviously, we're still on lockdown at the moment, so I'm offering Zoom consultations if anyone wants to give me a call. And yeah, if you just want to email me and ask me any questions, I will be happy to help and talk you through my experiences. So thanks again for Angela inviting me tonight. If anyone's got any questions, do pop them below. I think I've covered most of the questions that I had prior to this event from a few people I knew who would be watching tonight. But if anyone's got any comments, do pop them below. And if you're watching this on replay, then you can still comment and I'll come on board and I'll answer tomorrow. Right guys, thanks for watching tonight and have a lovely week. Just be mindful, we got the clapping going on at 8 o'clock tonight. My Millie absolutely hates the pots and pans being banged, so maybe look out for your cats and see if they're okay. We're going to be bringing Millie inside in a moment and just making sure she's okay. Right, speak soon, take care.